Hello everyone, welcome. Another Sunday, another live stream. How was your week? I hope everyone had a great start of Q3 and July as well. It was an interesting week in the market with some news. Again, NFP, since it was the first week of the month, as always, we have NFP on Friday. So there was a few labor market, which it was a bit mixed in the sense that job openings was slightly higher than expected, still above 8 million. But then ADP and NFP, ADP it was less. NFP, it's always the same thing. Like nowadays, who knows what the numbers are? They are constantly being revised negatively, kind of lower than it was actually initially announced. So month after month, it has been revised down. It's exactly the same thing that just happened right now. So the number overall, it was higher than expected, but again, the previous month was revised with minus 60k jobs. Same thing the month before that. So who knows what exactly going on with the labor market. The reality is that at this point is 4.1% in here. So we'll see. Again, if anyone is new, feel free to subscribe to the channel. What we're going to do here is basically a quick overview of what we're expecting for next week. We go across FX market, commodities, indices, and crypto as well with majors, Bitcoin, Ethereum. It was a big sell-off this week that just passed by. Something that just by looking at the charts and the technicals, it was a little bit expected. And we also mentioned that the previous weeks when we looked at crypto. Again, in terms of news, yes, it was a lot of labor market. There was the conference, the ECB conference in Sintra in Portugal. It's a beautiful place where Christine Lagarde and Pedro spoke. Also the president of Bank of Brazil, and nothing really much, and nothing new. It was mentioned in there between Christine Lagarde and the Pedro. Again, the path is the path, whatever they are doing, with ECB already cutting one rate. Expectation maybe to hold the next meeting in regards to the Fed, looking to the first rate cut to happen now in September. That's where the odds are, not November but September, and here around 72% the odds for the first rate cut, which which can happen. Indeed, one of the more negative news in the US, it was actually the services PMI. It was below 50. That was the first time for a while. It was a little bit unexpected. It was supposed to be around 52 point something. It went all the way to, I think, 48 or close to 49. So that was a big drop and a big surprise that we had that big sell-off as well on the dollar happening during the week. Next week is going to be a busy one. Of course, usually the week after the NFP, it's always the CPI, and they're going to have CPI on Thursday. Before that, we have Pedro testifying in front of Congress for 2 days in a row. It's going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. So there you go. It's going to be a busy week in the market with plenty of volatility to be expected, and most likely July is going to continue to be like this until we have the next Fed meeting, and then August most likely is going to maybe slow down a little bit in here. So yeah, let's take a look at what's going on in the market. As always, we start with the dollar index, which basically is one of the most important pairs to pay attention to, since or because of the correlation that it has with all the other assets, not just FX, but also with indices, with commodities, and so on. So yeah, basically last week price was around this area, right? So it was retesting this highs in here. It was somewhere in there actually. Yeah, something also to pay attention, of course, just happening right now is the election in France, which is the second round. The last two times that you had the European elections, and there was a gap on the euro dollar, and then you had last week the first round of the French elections was another gap. So most likely we are going to have another gap as soon as the market opens today. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in here. But overall, we had the turn on the dollar index. Okay, dollar index apparently managed to respect this level in here. Initially, we're looking for price either hold or break a little bit of this level. It decided to actually initially respect the demand zone, but it then still respected the supply. Okay, now there was a little bit of a move going on the approach, which is also matters. Okay, I'm going to release a video maybe this week about how to trade double tops. I'm going to cover a little bit of a few things that I look for when trading double tops, but one of them is of course where is price coming from, did it break or respected structure, but then also the approach if our breaking close or not on the way. They kind of started to break, and then in that respecting that level, and maybe somewhere in here we start looking for that turn, especially after the break of this low as well, to confirm the move, and all of a sudden it changes the bias. Like we start looking for dollar index to move down. So initially we kind of broke the low, then it was just a normal continuation, retesting this level, didn't even retest the supply, just retested previous level support resistance, and it has been just moving to the downside. Good initial reaction from here, but the expectation is to most likely continue to move to the downside, and we'll see. Like overall, we do have this range. Now, we mentioned several times that price actually broke below this demand zone in here. Okay, but the overall structure that we're looking for was more of this one, and that one was never really broken in here. Yes, we fake out that small demand zone, but the overall level we kind of kept respecting it. So it's going to be interesting to see if the dollar index, it's going to now fill out this range and challenge at least this low, and there is definitely still this demand zone in here, because this low didn't really fill this range, at least on this time frame. So there is the chance, of course, for price maybe to do something like that. Depending on how price actually is going to approach this level, or if eventually we're going to just completely fake out finally this or break these lows in here and continue to move to the downside. So again, for the last few months the dollar has been in this range in here, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see at this point. Of course, a bit more bearish and eventually trying to see this dollar index maybe challenge this low, this demand zone, can eventually also fake out that low in there as well. There was no break of a high in here, so price basically just kept respecting that level with the NFP, and so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in here. Okay, but yes, overall for this week, first and foremost, we'll see if it's going to fill this place again, and if there's going to be any break below this structure. Or not, okay, or it's going to eventually retest. Again, at this point, not the biggest fan anymore of whatever's going on in here, so if price by any chance retests closer to the highs, I'm looking for price to actually fake out the level in there. It can indeed fake out this level, just respect the supply and continue to move down. Okay, that could be one of the levels that could be faked out for price to retest this level. Aside from that, there's maybe still something in here that actually price can still respect that high, and maybe just continue. Okay, that could be also something to happen. Maybe there is not even the need to fake out this structure here, and just respect and move forward in there. So yeah, faking out this level, then maybe trying to push a bit more towards this level in here as a continuation in here. Of course, with the gap, when price opens, we're going to realize it straight away in here. Yeah, moving along. So the indices, again, S&P, NASDAQ continue to break new all-time highs. I'm going to make another video as well. I did one kind of 2 or 3 months ago explaining how to trade all-time highs. I'm going to make another one just to be aware of how to approach these markets. Okay, that's something that maybe, especially if you are a content trader, you may be struggling at this point, and you need to be a little bit more conservative on the way to trade. Principle double tops or something like that, because again, tendency can still be for price to eventually break new highs and continue with this momentum until we may have a little bit of a turn. Like what we usually see is that during the week there is opportunities to sell if that's what you are looking for. Okay, I'm mostly talking now for anyone that is more of a counter trend trader and is looking for these reversals, where at this point I don't think there is no need to try to predict where the top is going to be, okay, where the higher high is going to be. No need to predict that. And I always assume that it's going to be maybe still a new high being created until we actually see a proper break in the higher time frame, and not just to break off a low, but actually then another one, kind of a second or even a third, but usually at least a second break of a low, an important low in this case in here. So for the week, yes, we had the retest. Okay, we fake out even slightly with these lows. There was maybe still a little bit of a gap between initially there was this gap in here, right, between this low and basically the next structure somewhere in there or in here. So there was that level in there, and price in here. So if we cut the level, maybe hasn't really closed the gap, unless on the overtime frame there's maybe some demand zone created after the break of this. Maybe there is that level again. Maybe if you zoom in, maybe you can see it in there. Otherwise there's still the space which eventually can be filled, right? And it's good also, right? It's good. This is a kind of another video that can be done in terms of. It's actually interesting to keep or to continue to track those spaces that are left behind, because eventually that can work as a target. Okay, even if price continues to expand more to the upside, eventually that can lead into a really good target with a great risk reward if you do catch kind of the reversal in here. Doesn't mean that first time that price is going to reverse, going to go all the way to fill this space. Nowhere near that, right? We still have maybe some demands or some decision points, support resistance, whatever it may be in between, and those levels still need to be respected, and price can still hold and just continue to go higher. But eventually when all of those are starting to be taken and the compression continues to happen and this level starts to be weaker and weaker and weaker, eventually do have that reversal and you can aim for that bigger target. And that's usually when you can look for a really good trade in terms of risk reward. And that's the moment that maybe you can actually have a little bit more of that expectation instead of just constantly looking for that big trade. Nevertheless, S&P and NASDAQ, like, so we continue to move to the upside. It created a little bit more of a range, manipulation, and continuation to the upside in here. Initially that level was respected and price just continued to go higher. And yeah, we'll see next week what's going to happen. It's an interesting break of a low in there, so we want to see lows being broken for sure. Okay, that shows a little bit of weakness, but it's still kind of even the previous level of resistance, now support or demand zone, whatever. There's still levels in here that price can respect and just continue to go higher. And NASDAQ, again, same thing. Okay, so it eventually went a little bit down, kind of respected a little bit more of this level in here, and then just continue to go higher, broke the highs, and then just continue. And now, yeah, now we'll see. Okay, we need to look for a little bit more weakness, more PI eventually to turn. And for anyone that is looking for a trend continuation setup or still bullish and looking for longs, those are the moments. Like again, the same way that I'm looking for maybe for a target, if you are looking for a reversal, those are the levels that you want to be looking for a long. Like just even on S&P, the same way that maybe I was looking for price maybe to fill this price in here. If by any chance you are looking for any longs or continuation to the upside, those are the levels that you want to be looking for to join the longs. Okay, maybe wait for actually price to have that deep retracement and then join the momentum to the upside. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Just kind of flip the bias, or kind of flip the, depending on what type of trader you are or what kind of setups you're looking for in here. But yes, first target for any kind of sell or retracement, of course, we do have this this level here is basically already retested with that week. So basically that support resistance level has already been retested in there. Okay, at least on this time frame that you're looking in here, then eventually you can have this demand zone. It may look like it's still fresh since this low, at least on this time frame, again, may have not really retested it. So there's maybe this level in here that price can eventually retrace, can work as a target for any shorts, and the same way that can work as a long for anyone that is still looking to continue this bullish momentum. Dow just continues to be within this range. Incredible. Again, still looking for it to go a little bit more to the upside, and from there maybe there's something to look for in there. So nothing really has changed in here. DAX filled the range. Okay, so we noticed that price had broken these highs, kind of broke again the highs. It kept respecting this demand zone. In my opinion, it was not my favorite. I could still see eventually going lower, but we need to respect the PI that you can see, and price which we start breaking this high with the target then to fill the range in there. It created this last fake out below these lows into that demand zone, and since then it's moving kind of to the upside. Now I'm looking eventually, I was looking to see DAX maybe getting a little bit more to the higher before maybe moving down. But in reality, again, this is not a bad level. This is not a bad demand zone where price actually reacted from here. And if from here it wants to go higher and even take the highs, it can, or it can maybe just react from somewhere in there, or eventually yeah, maybe fake out this high here, and maybe getting somewhere closer to this, to something in there could be reasonable. But I still like this level, to be honest. Yeah, depending on the approach, depending on price may react from there, that can be something to look for on the DAX in here. Now crypto, yeah, crypto has been interesting. Like, so we made that big move to downside. Crypto total market also is Bitcoin as well, so we got close to this demand zone already. We mentioned before, and if you have seen the charts, we noticed that this was already kind of a break of these lows, so that could have been already the initial sign that maybe price want to go lower, because we definitely had this structure in here, and price eventually broke below it, didn't really react from kind of the demand zone, they left that level behind, and then it starts respecting the highs. Like, so that's basically something that we noticed. And basically this low in here may start open the door for price to come eventually, or to retest eventually, to fill this price in there into that zone, which Bitcoin is basically what's going to happen in here as well. Right, so we did manage to break below these lows, and then again this was key. Right, when price actually in the respecting in this level, we definitely start turning a bit more bearish, and that was exactly the reality that we look for. Eventually there was maybe this gap in here to look for price to fill, but then price just continued to move forward. And then to respect this demand zone, it was perfect, actually this supply, sorry, and then it moved forward really good. And we'll see now. Okay, we'll see. Again, this is a key level. Somewhere in here price can definitely maybe retest and move forward, and we have also this structure in there, right? So let's see what BTC is going to do. This was a key level as well, around 50. Otherwise price can actually start moving even lower. Okay, so many people, I believe, may have turned bearish after price broke this low, and this is definitely a way to play with the emotions of everyone that has been involved, especially for anyone that has been holding BTC and expecting price to just continue to go eventually to 80k, 100k, whatever it may be, which is basically the expectation for many people, especially after the break of the highs and with you know, I forgot the name, with the event that happened in April. So yes, this demand zone is important. This demand zone that actually managed to break the all-time highs in here on the left side. Okay, that's maybe basically that push to the upside. So that one is still an important one. And let's see. Okay, let's see if this level either holds to the upside and price starts to go higher, or if this level in here, all these highs actually manage to be a really strong level of resistance, and price now kind of keep respecting this level, and price starts moving lower. And if you, by any chance, if it breaks not even just below this demand zone, but also maybe around this level, then you are looking definitely for price maybe to get closer to this 40k level again, and this level can still also be quite interesting or in there as well. So yes, it's going to be an interesting one. Many people may start again turning bearish because price just broke this low. It doesn't really mean that price now is just going to continue to move lower. We'll see. Now, something important, it did manage to break a second low, right? So we did manage to initially break these lows, and now we managed to break this low in here while holding the highs. That usually turns, or it looks like kind of a little bit of a bearish move. Okay, first low being broken, kind of goes up, retest, and now breaks the lows again in here. That usually tends to be a little bit of a bearish, or to look like a bearish move. So that's something to bear in mind in here. Okay, and yes, you can continue to go lower. You did have a little bit of manipulation here, so that level can still hold and price can still continue to move to the downside. It's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen around this 50k mark on BTC. So yeah, even if price wants to turn and to completely turn bullish from here, I do believe that we still need some kind of PA to play with. Okay, I think this low could be interesting eventually to be faked out, if that's the idea. Okay, at least, and usually that's what happens. Price doesn't really just turn on the first big low that happens, and if it does, by any chance, if this is the low, therefore, if price can use this low, if the intention eventually is to turn as fake out, or if price does want to still respect this low, then you need PA somewhere in here in the middle. okay, before the turn. So it's one of the two, either PA in here or PA within this level if price does want to turn. Otherwise, we just continue to have this bearish move in here on BTC. Ethereum, kind of more of the same. We now retested that level again for a while. Even when we created this low, I was already looking for Ethereum to get so lower, kind of a little bit more to the downside, but this was a perfect level where actually it respected it. And same thing, even in terms of the low, in terms of if price does want to respect this double low in there, but we kind of, it needs to create some kind of PI around this level to eventually turn, or at this point we do have basically this, all these lows, and price can eventually fake out that level before maybe turning something like that. Okay, again, it was a really good move to the downside from here. Some of the guys actually managed to cut those shorts along the way in here, so good job. Yeah, we'll see. Which of it is double bottom? I'm still far from not turning bullish in here, nowhere near that. Again, as a counter trend trader, now that many people may start looking for sales, this is the moment actually I'm starting to pay attention to potential retracements, but without really turning bullish at this point. And while many people are actually still looking for to completely be bullish in here, there's maybe already signs of bearish in there. That's just the reality. Solana as well, kind of moving downside, still respecting slightly this demand zone, but it could also continue to push a bit more to the downside in here. So something to also pay attention in here. But it's a key level. Again, many people are starting to be frustrated. That's kind of the time where many memes and people on Twitter X starting to say that crypto is not for them, or crypto is risky, or it's like this, all this is nonsense. Yeah, it's this phase where we are now in here. The indices, okay, the FX indices, and you're looking at Euro Index. Okay, so again, expecting another gap. So that was the one with European elections. This was last week in the first round, and now it's going to be another one, and we'll see what kind of gap is going to happen. We then finally filled the range in here last week. We kept this one open, and at this point we are at this kind of compression zone in here. If we do manage to go above this high on the Euro Index, I'm expecting eventually for price to fill all this compression and eventually start targeting this level in there. Even though this one in here looks like quite compressed as well, but this is basically the extreme in here. This is basically the high that managed to make all this move down. So in here is still maybe some extreme that price could bounce. We have this strong compression as well on the way up, so it's going to be quite interesting. Okay, again, most likely price is going to either gap and open somewhere already in there, which maybe can happen quite quickly to fill this compression, or by any chance price is going to gap to the downside and it starts becoming this gap in here, the key level to look for. So that's going to be the interesting part on the Euro Index, if price wants now to fill completely this range in here, and yeah, continue to move to the upside in there. So that's going to be an interesting one. And then the end pairs, like the end pairs continue to be in my radar. Okay, so basically, as you can see, we had like in 13 candles, 12 of them were bearish. There is this bullish candle in here, which is almost nothing, and we finally start to print slightly with some bullish candles in here, which is basically just dodgy candles, which not really yeah, it's not exactly a proper bullish candle in here. So again, it's not that often that we see so many bearish candles in here, even though there is maybe not one with proper kind of momentum down. Maybe that was missing. However, when you start noticing something like this, most likely you are getting closer to some kind of retracement. Okay, and that's another way to start looking for an edges, which if you start noticing like 10 bearish candles, bearish candles in a row, most likely you are getting close to a I don't mean a complete reversal, but at least some kind of retracement, and you can start looking for a PI that validates those moves, and that's basically what we start having in here. Okay, so price slowly it starts to print some at least breaking some previous highs, to start showing some bullish signs in here. Again, you do have this low still in here. Okay, you have all the structure. We may fake out still that level in there before a proper turn. I think that could happen. Again, any move in here is maybe related also a little bit with the dollar and so on. There's like it's missing a little bit of a yen kind of news release or data that actually can start to incentivize this big turn. So that's something also to pay attention. And any data that comes from Japan or from the BOG that can make this turn. Okay, but it's definitely another week where the yen pairs are going to be on my radar, because they can provide eventually a good turn in here. We start breaking slightly these highs. Yes, this is the structure will be that matters as well, and we do have now this accumulation of lows in here. So I would like actually to see some kind of fake out from here and eventually to turn to the upside. That could be interesting. We already reacted a little bit from this level, so next one could be somewhere in there, doing all this compression. Okay, getting somewhere close to that level, and then we have the previous low, which can be also a good level to look for as a target in here. So yeah, starting to range a little bit. Yes, I would definitely prefer to see a new fake out or one more fake out of these lows before the turn in here. So yeah, the yen pairs 100% are going to continue to be on my radar for next week. So looking at individual currency pairs, okay, so it's again the dollar is just doing the same thing as the dollar index. Okay, in this case the opposite. Okay, so we have the euro dollar moving upwards, euro index as well moving upwards, and you have the dollar index moving down. So euro dollar managed to break these highs as soon as it opened, basically on Monday, retest the gap, or kind of retested the demand zone that created the gap over the weekend, and since then has been moving to the upside. Okay, so again, the PA in here started to work. We had our first break of a high, and then we kind of have the second proper break of a high. In here, we had the smallest fake out possible of just a couple of pips into this level, and price start turning. Again, another break in here, and now we're looking for the euro dollar to get closer to this level. There was a little bit of initial reaction in here during the NFP. Again, typical NFP with the first spike down can kind of go up, but end up a little bit in the range until the end of the day, where it kind of moved slightly to the upside. But yes, looking for the euro dollar to get at least closer to this supply, to fake out these highs, and we'll see what kind of PA we're going to have maybe towards there. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, this level maybe in here can still be a little bit fresh, so yeah, we'll see. Again, what kind of gap we're going to have. It's going to be interesting, but eventually something in there could be interesting after breaking this high, so towards that level, and then you can even go higher, to be honest, if that's the intention in here. But first and foremost, definitely this level is something to pay attention to. Yeah, maybe even in there, and then yes, and then you do have also this level in there. So that's euro dollar. If price does want to move to downside, is there something in here still within this range? Maybe there's something in there picking out this low that price could use and push higher. A pound dollar just continues as well to go higher. Okay, now it's retesting this level in here, so it keeps respecting this structure and then kind of move to the upside. It respected that low. Interesting enough, we had broken the highs first already, showing indication as well the direction that it wanted to go to, and then it respected perfectly the demand zone during this week. So yeah, we'll see how price may react from this level in here. Maybe actually looking for price to go slightly higher, and if it just wants to continue to move higher in here, maybe can eventually use all this structure as a long. That can be something to pay attention to. Now as a continuation setup, maybe after taking this high, so it could go higher a little bit, fake out that level, and then continue to go higher, or maybe that can happen after taking this one, and eventually starting looking for price to go there. So if by any chance we want to see this pound dollar continue to go higher, again, we had election in the UK as well last Thursday. Again, change of parties now, with Labour in being the majority. So we'll see. In terms of market, didn't really react that much during the election day, but we have now the pound continue to move move slightly higher. Again, it was mostly due to the weak dollar as well. So nothing very much again going on in there. We have euro pound, which continues to be a bit within this range in here. So close that gap. Again, we'll see what price may do. I'm still looking eventually for euro pound actually to go slightly higher. So it's more of two levels that I'll be looking for. Aussie dollar continues to go higher. So it finally moved away from this range that it's been quite a few months in here, and finally moved to the upside. Like we mentioned as well, we had this compression. This is the extreme price initially respected, but as soon as it breaks, most likely it's going to feel this range and going to go towards that level. So it broke somewhere in there, kind of retested, and now it's moving to the upside. There was still the possibility as well of retesting closer to this demand zone as a continuation setup as well, so that could happen. Okay, this level here may be still fresh, and eventually, if the Aussie dollar wants to go, maybe can fake out these walls as well. Pretend that is working, and then just fake out that level and push maybe more to the upside. So that could definitely happen, but for now, looking for the Aussie dollar to go and close this gap in there. The other Aussie pairs, again, Euro Aussie continues to be within this range. So we'll see as well what's going to happen. At this point, initially it was nice, the setups like the week before or something like that with these fake outs. At this point, I don't really like them anymore. I want just to see now price moving away from this structure. Again, there's still that demand zone in there that I'm still looking for as well. And then we jump into the yen pairs, right? And there we go. Again, it's worth to pay attention into the higher time frame to look left. I need to check that on in TradingView. I don't have data in here, but yeah, I think I had a level at around 108.680, something like that. So that's maybe a level that I'm still looking for price to go towards to. Initially, we had this range. We had a fake out. We have price moving down. Now I had another fake out, and basically price is retesting these highs. Most likely is going to still be faked out in there as well. Interesting enough, this low actually managed to break this structure, so that turns it a bit more bearish. So that's something to pay attention to. So we will see what's going to happen in here. Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen around this structure. But that's one of the end pairs as well to pay attention. That price is still moving upwards. It's compressing, starting to create some ranges in here. So eventually can be closer to a turn. So that's one of the end pairs to pay attention. Dollar yen was a great opportunity. There's kind of some PNR to sell it and really pay attention to it. And all of a sudden you had this big sell off. Then you had this range, which price then respected that level. And then same thing in here, the price respecting that level again. And this was the other range that you're looking for. Price respected it in here. So again, breaking this low, I think it makes it a bit more bearish at this point, but price can still maybe go and challenge a little bit more those levels in here. Okay, again, this move on the dollar yen, comparing with maybe some other yen pairs, is mostly due to the negative dollar as well, of the bearish dollar. It's supported a little bit this dollar yen to go slightly lower than or comparing with other yen pairs, but it's not just due to the yen. And that's what I want to say. Like this week, dollar yen is not due to the kind of a strong yen in this case, as you can see on the yen index. Eventually those are going to be in alignment. Okay, so yes, good reaction now from this level. Maybe it was one of the targets to look for from this sell-off. Yep, fair enough. Let's see if this dollar yen managed to break below the lows or not, until eventually maybe turns and maybe try to challenge us again the highs. Now the supplies are being taken, so it's starting to compress a little bit in here. So yeah, so we will see what's going to happen on the dollar yen. But it's definitely kind of one of those yen pairs to pay attention to. We have euro yen, which is again ranging completely, and we are getting closer as well to something on the left side, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, that reaction here on the dollar yen is from one of those supply levels that we mentioned a few, where is it? Like dollar yen is actually reacting from that supply level that we talked about. Right, so it's this one at 16169 something. You need to go to the weekly, right? And that's the one, right? So this was one of the first levels that we mentioned. This one in here, 161 something, and that's basically where price is reacting right now. Okay, so is this basically the supply in there? We talked about that one. Price or this high is never really reacted from it. Now price is reacting, even though it's again from the 90s or whatever, a long time ago, that the level kind of still respects. We'll see how big the reaction is going to be. Euro yen, it may still have a little bit more room to the upside before it starts turning. Actually, it's kind of within some kind of supply, but eventually the level that you're looking for is more for price maybe to take this higher, react from something a bit more to the extreme in there. So that's a bit more of the euro yen that we are looking for. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in the year on the euro yen. So there's maybe a little bit more room to the upside as well. Okay, since we are doing this, let's just take a look also at the Aussie yen. Like Aussie yen, second. Okay. Yeah, Aussie yen is within this structure. Again, I want to fake out that level. That's my favorite. It will be slightly higher. So let the Aussie yen as well continue to go higher. Maybe fake out this one. Have initially some kind of reaction to the downside as soon as it takes these highs, but eventually to get closer to that level in there to start looking for a bigger reversal. Just call it like that in here. Okay, so let it continue to build up some kind of compression on the higher time frame until eventually it turns in here, which in that case maybe we can continue to see new lows being created on the yen index as well. Yeah, so yes, so that's dollar yen. Yeah, euro yen again, as I mentioned, maybe continue this range. Eventually can go slightly higher. It's something to pay attention to. Kept respecting this level. That's good. We do have this trend line as well, so it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Pound yen, it was a good PA as well, kind of initially even in there it was a good sell, and now we have this range. Price already kind of broke slightly these lows. Now we fake out the highs, right? So it's starting to build up that reversal pattern that you can see in here. Again, price can also respect this level and continues to push higher, but it's going to be interesting to see some kind of sells maybe from there towards here, and then maybe price can go, or we start having a little bit more of a move to the downside from here. Again, where we are at this point, still kind of a bit in the middle. Maybe price wants to go slightly higher in here. So this one is an interesting one. Maybe price can just respect these highs and can move a little bit more to the downside in here until eventually maybe destination can still be there. So there's a little bit of space in here on this pound yen. So that's something to bear in mind in here. And I'm looking forward as well to try to look for good opportunities in there. CAD yen, it's another one that kind of created that pattern, right? We broke the low, fake out the highs, kind of retest this left shoulder in here. It's moving to the downside, respecting out this demand zone. But as a CAD pair, again, it's another one that we're looking for price, and we have been looking for price to get slightly closer to this range. It's not exactly there yet, kind of reacted from this level. There's maybe still this level in here that price wants to eventually go to, but good PA on the war time frame. And yeah, let's see how price may react from this demand zone, and eventually can break everything and just get closer to these lows in there. Being aware that maybe this level in here is still one more time maybe available still for another push down. Hopefully price just takes the lows first in there. And then CAD dollar, okay, or dollar CAD in this case. I kept respecting that level. So again, personally, I'm looking maybe for price to get a little bit closer to this demand zone, maybe fake out these lows in here. But at this point, price basically just fake out these ones and is turning a little bit more to the upside. Let's see how price may react from here. Okay, so this level can be interesting to see if price respects and pushes a bit more to the downside. Okay, so that's something to be aware of, how price may react from here. And eventually can go towards that demand zone, faking out all those lows in there. Yep, so that's something. Again, EuroCAD, it was a really good turn as well. Okay, so it respected these lows in here, or kind of got really close to these lows in there, and now it's moving to the upside. Kind of start having the break first and fake out within this level. Yeah, so never really closed the gap. Just respected the upper edge of that level. The gap can still be there eventually to be respected, and meanwhile, price is just looking to maybe to get closer to something in here. Dollar franc Swiss, this was a pity. So we were looking for that sell. It was another one that has been bullish for quite a while, so printed too many bullish candles. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 basically 10 bullish candles on the daily time frame. Are getting closer to a level in here that we were looking for. And yes, I was looking actually price to go slightly higher, so a few pips more to the upside. However, price, when it created this range, it just literally fake out that level by a couple of pips, or not even. We start breaking some lows, so the PI in here was really good. Start breaking some lows, but yes, I was looking for that final push a little bit more to the upside. It never really happened into that level. Price just respected this zone underneath, and yes, after that, price just went down. Didn't really create much in here. So looking at with some kind of PI around this level. Nothing really much going on in there, just broke down, then kept respecting, or start respecting this lower edge in here, and power push down. And then this was with the inflation in Switzerland, quick move up, and then just switch to move down. Like this lows in here started to break some structure when price moved down. Okay, started breaking here, and there you go. The bearish or the bears were in control at this point. In here, I was looking for price actually to get close to that level during NFP, but again, just a little bit short to that. And yes, at this point, the continuation of the expectation is to continue to look for this dollar franc Swiss to push a bit lower. Okay, that's a little bit of the expectation in here. If price can even fake out that level as well into a better level in here. But that's definitely something to pay attention on dollar franc Swiss as a continuation at this point. Yeah, maybe continuation to the downside in here. Gold, yeah, gold just started to move upwards. Like, see, this was something that we also noticed, started to break to the upside. Now, personally, if I think I mentioned that this is kind of a zone 2 type of a move that we talk about. There was a slight fake out in here, but I was looking for price to create a little bit more of a fake out of all these lows before moving higher. Okay, we had already broken the highs in here as well. There was a break of a high, but we had already broken the highs, indicating the direction that we wanted to go next. Price respected really nicely these lows. I was literally just looking for price, one of these lows, to maybe make a little bit more of a deeper fake out into this level, or whatever level it was in between in here, but at least to fake out properly these lows and then push to the upside. Price just did it, but in a really small matter, with just a small fake out, and then eventually price just went to the upside. And yeah, that's basically what we're looking for. Good manipulation here as well. This is more of a continuation pattern at this point with the fake out, and then go for test the left shoulder and goes in here, and there you go. Broke this size, and they are looking at this point for gold to get maybe close to 2,400 in here. So that's something to bear in mind on gold. And then we have oil, which yeah, it was a good level as well to potentially look for a sell. Again, the compression to the upside that was expected. We're looking for price to break to the upside in here, and we have this level, right? So basically that's a target in here, which can lead to more continuation setup, and eventually can even take this double top in there. But yes, it's finding some kind of resistance at around 85 or 84.80. So that's something to bear in mind in here on oil as well. Can good compression, it can still maybe respect one more time, something in here and push higher until eventually maybe can have a little bit of a correction in here. So not really much going on at this point in terms of news, macroeconomic or conflicts as well. between Middle East and Russia and Ukraine, there's not really much development at this point. So we'll see what's going to happen in here. I think the elections, especially in the US, can also have an impact in here, especially because of the relationships that's going to be built depending on who is going to win the election. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting next few months on oil in here to see which direction this is going to go towards, and also the economy as well. If there's going to be any kind of a struggle or not, and some kind of recession or not in the US, Europe, like if we are going to start struggling or not with these rates, interest rates as they are, and employment if it's going to start to increase or not. So we'll see. Like, it's going to be interesting, but mostly at this point, geopolitical it remains the same, but the election in the US can be a shift in here on expectation of price of oil. That's basically it in terms of the charts that you are looking for. So again, commodities, especially oil, maybe to go slightly higher until we turn. Okay, so I'm not really expecting price to go much higher than that. There's maybe even a level at around 90, but before that, I think price will just stabilize in here for a while. Again, we are going to have plenty of volatility with the Fed Chair Powell testifying on Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, the first half an hour of those sessions, they may be interesting. After that, like the type of questions, they are too political, which is going to be interesting now that you are between the pre-action phase or period. And then we have inflation on Thursday, again CPI, which can start being a little bit of a challenge as well, because again the inflation in the second semester from last year, it was quite low. So having low numbers at this point is going to be hard. So you may have a few prints slightly higher than we have been having for the last few months. So that's something also to bear in mind in here. So yeah, the dollar is going to continue to move lower and then turn, question mark. The indices are going to continue to be bullish and breaking all-time highs, or are going to start having a little bit of a reversal. That's going to be another question mark. And yeah, and then the end pairs, I think the end pairs are going to continue to be quite interesting to look for trades. You can definitely look for trades on the intraday. Eventually, to catch a really big reversal, that's going to be with a little bit more patience, waiting in alignment between the yen index and the end pairs to try to see where the correlation is for that reversal. Aside from that, guys, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And yeah, we are getting close also to the end of the Euros. Unfortunately, Portugal lost against France in penalties. Quite upset about that one, but yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, good luck for any others. And yeah, 1 week from now, 1 week from now, it's going to be the final. So yeah. All right. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.